A boat sits motionless in still water. The canal stretches flat in both directions. Ahead the water drops away. The vessel cannot continue. Someone must arrive, open the gates, and let the levels change. Until then it waits. Everything that moved through here depended on that arrival. Canal water does not flow. It sits level between stone walls, held at a fixed height by gates built into the channel. A boat can travel freely along one stretch, but when the land rises or falls, the water cannot follow. The vessel reaches a barrier. Beyond it, the water sits lower or higher. The boat cannot pass. A lock was built to solve this. It is a chamber with gates at both ends. Water can be let in or drained out, raising or lowering the boat until it matches the level on the other side. The gates then open and the boat continues. Without the lock, the canal would be useless. The water would drain downhill or pool unevenly. Boats would be stranded. The lock divides the canal into controlled sections, each held at its own height. Between them, the chamber acts as a passage, but the passage does not operate itself. The gates do not open on their own. The water does not move without instruction. Someone had to be there. Someone had to know when to open the paddles, when to let the chamber fill, when to swing the heavy gates and allow the boat through. That work was constant. It was not automatic, it was done by hand. The gates are wood or iron, set into grooves in the chamber walls. They meet in a V-shape, angled upstream so the water pressure holds them shut. To open them, the pressure must be equalized. That means filling or emptying the chamber. The lock keeper controls this with paddles. Paddles are small doors built into the gates or the chamber walls. They cover openings that let water pass through. Each paddle is lifted or lowered by a rod connected to a gear mechanism. The keeper turns a hand crank. Gear engages. The rod rises, pulling the paddle up. Water begins to flow. If the chamber is empty and a boat is entering from below, the keeper opens the lower paddles first. Water from the upper canal flows in slowly. The boat rises. When the water in the chamber matches the level above, the upper gates can be opened. The keeper cranks the gate paddles closed, then pushes or pulls the balance beam attached to each gate. The gates swing open. The boat moves through. The process reverses when the boat exits. The keeper closes the gates behind it, opens the opposite paddles, drains or fills the chamber, and opens the next set of gates. Each passage takes time. The keeper must wait for the chamber to equalize. Forcing the gates early can damage them. Filling too quickly can swamp a smaller boat. The keeper learns the rhythm. The work is repetitive, but it is not thoughtless. Every boat is different. Every load shifts the weight. The keeper adjusts. The lock keeper lived in a house built beside the chamber. The position was not temporary. It was a permanent assignment. The keeper was responsible for all traffic through that section of the canal. Boats arrived at any hour. Commercial traffic moved day and night. The keeper had to be available. Some canals operated on schedules. Others moved vessels as they came. The keeper tracked who was approaching, what they carried, and whether they had priority. Loaded coal barges took precedence over empty boats. Regular freight had priority over private craft. The keeper made those decisions. The keeper also maintained the lock. Gates needed greasing. Paddle gear wore down. Algae and debris clogged the sluices. If a gate jammed or a paddle stuck, the keeper cleared it. If a boat damaged the chamber wall, the keeper reported it. The lock was not complex, but it required attention. The keeper's family often helped. Children learned to operate the paddles. Wives kept logs of passing traffic. The work became part of the household. The lock was not just a workplace. It was where they lived. The canal defined their routine. They woke to the sound of boats approaching. They slept between passages. The rhythm of water moving through the chamber was the rhythm of their day. Canals carried bulk goods that could not move easily by road. Coal, grain, timber, stone, and manufactured goods traveled in long, narrow boats built to fit the locks. A single boat could carry as much as several wagons. The canal network connected factories to ports, mines to cities, farms to markets. Movement was slow but reliable. By the mid-1800s, traffic had grown. Some canals saw dozens of boats each day. Lock keepers worked in sequence. A boat leaving one lock would soon reach the next. Keepers coordinated by sight or by word passed along the towpath. When traffic was heavy, boats queued. The keeper prioritized based on load and direction. Uphill passages took longer because the chamber had to be filled. Downhill passages drained faster. A keeper managing a busy lock worked continuously. There was no pause between boats. The gates closed, the paddles opened, the chamber cycled. Efficiency mattered. Delayed boats meant delayed cargo. Mills waiting for coal, markets waiting for grain, all depended on the keeper's pace. But there were limits. A keeper could only move boats as fast as water could fill or drain the chamber. A second keeper could not be added to the same lock. The chamber held one boat at a time. The system could not scale beyond the physical constraints of water and stone. Railroads expanded rapidly in the second half of the 19th century. Trains moved faster than canal boats. They were not limited by water supply or lock capacity. A single rail line could carry more freight in a day than a canal carried in a week. Canal traffic began to decline. Some routes were abandoned entirely. Others saw reduced use. Boats still moved, but fewer of them. Lock keepers remained at their posts, but the work slowed. Passages that once occurred hourly now happened twice a day. Some canals were sold to railway companies who let them deteriorate. Others were maintained by local authorities but saw diminishing investment. Mechanical assistance was introduced on some busy routes. Hydraulic systems replaced hand cranks. Gates could be opened with levers instead of balance beams. These changes reduced the physical effort but did not eliminate the keeper. Someone still had to decide when to operate the lock. By the early 20th century, many rural canals had been abandoned. The water remained, but the boats did not. Lock keepers were reassigned or dismissed. The houses beside the locks were sold or left empty. A few canals remained in commercial use, but most transitioned to maintenance-only status. The locks still functioned, but no one was waiting to open them. The locks are still there. Stone chambers, iron gates, rusted paddle gear. Some have been restored and are operated for recreational boats. Others are automated, controlled by switches or remote systems. Many are simply left in place, gates closed, water still. The keeper's house might be a private residence now. The towpath might be a walking trail. The canal itself might be dry or reduced to a drainage channel. The work of manually operating a lock has not entirely disappeared. A few heritage canals employ keepers for demonstration purposes. Volunteers operate locks on restored routes, but the role as it existed, a permanent position, a livelihood, a daily responsibility, is gone. The last generation of working lock keepers retired decades ago. Their knowledge was specific. They understood how water moved through their particular chamber, how their gates responded, which paddles stuck in winter. That understanding was not written down. It was learned by doing. The canals do not need it anymore. The water continues to sit in its stone channels. The locks remain functional or derelict depending on location and use. Boats still pass through some of them. The gates still open. The water still rises and falls. It happens without anyone standing beside the chamber, waiting for the next arrival.